Michael, what do you see?
Tornado continues on the ground. We have really strong flow right into the tornado right now on the pavement. I mean, wow. I mean, I'm going to zoom in on the wind. I just want to give you a perspective of what it looks like here in the truck right now. I mean, Storm Command is rocking like I've never felt it before. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is incredible. Kyle, go ahead and back up a little bit more. We're fine where we're at. The tornado is getting stronger right back over here to the left. It's moving extremely slowly, and it has pivoted back up to the north. Kyle, let's go back even further. Keep going back. We're good. Keep going back further. Just keep going. Just stop. The tornado is just to our south right here. Damon is pulling in tremendous inflow into it, continuing to produce damage. We have large hailstones being pulled into the tornado as well. Been watching them, been watching pieces of debris flying around. Actually, a piece of debris just flew into the field right next to me in that fence. Kyle, keep going back. Keep going back. Do not stop until I tell you to stop.
So heads up. So the latest track, again, taking the storm a little bit more up to the north, again, up to the north with this cell. And so that would put Goldsby, again, Goldsby more in play. Again, that's going to make its way up towards the Goldsby area as well. So Cole up to Goldsby, watching this right now, moving up to the northeast right now. So again, tornado warning. If you're anywhere between Cole and Goldsby, you're in your shelter right now. You can see the inflow into the storm, and it is slowing down. And when it slows down, it's getting stronger and stronger. And so once again, cannot hit the message hard enough for those in Cole and Goldsby. Goldsby as well. I mean, at this current track, it's moving up to northeast. Okay, Shane, we have you. Shane, heads up, about 5 miles to your west is a large, confirmed, dangerous tornado. Shane, give us an update on your situation. Just a heads up. We hear Shane, by the way. Shane's coming in through the bridge. Again, he's coming through the bridge right now. We'll take him through the bridge right now.
Out of the way because this is a very large tornado. It is rain wrapped. We're having a hard time seeing it, so we're going to move back a ways and get away from it because it's extremely dangerous. It's too dangerous, and there's quite a few storm chasers here, but it's just too dangerous to be next to, Damon.
Oh, okay, all right.
In fact, that tornado looks like it's pretty big. I would not be surprised if it's not a half mile wide or maybe even bigger than that.
Okay, and Mike, Shane, you're spot on. Okay, let's go. Let's go over to Michael. Let's go out to Michael real quick. He's looking right into this. Michael, give us an update on what you're seeing. We'll go full screen with Michael.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Michael. Go ahead, Michael.
Okay. All right, we're on 290th Street. We're going to make a right. This is, go ahead and go, Kyle. We're going to go carefully here. Because at this point, Damon, we don't have our north-south road anymore. So we're gonna creep slowly with this thing. We are embedded in the rain that's wrapping into the tornado. Tornado is continuing. Damon, I don't know that I've ever been this close to a tornado this strong that's moving this slow. I mean, I'm not saying it's as strong as the Gerald, Texas tornado in 1997. Because that tornado just sat there and grinded on Gerald back in 1997 for a long time, and that ended up being an F5. I'm not saying that this tornado is that strong, but what I'm saying is that it's a very, very intense, very slow-moving tornado.
It is, yes, you're spot on. It is a intense tornado based off of all the data that we see coming in right now, and this is bad for Cole up to Goldsby. Let's go up in the air with Chase Rutledge. Chase, this tornado continues. Give us an update on what you're seeing.
Well, Damon, we're taking a look at the west side of this storm. We can't even see through the rain to see where the tornado is, but there is so much motion right here in the clouds. If we zoom out a little bit more and come to the left, This is, again, on the west side of this storm. If you go left a little bit more, all of these clouds here at the lowering of the base, they have so much momentum and so much movement in them. We're going to watch.
Okay, we'll go back out to Chase there.
On the left side of our shot.
Yes, Chase, we definitely see your picture right now. So, okay, let's go over to weather 2 again right here. So this is going to be your rotation right here, east of Cole, moving to the east. Now, this is going to be south of OU, but again, tornado still on the ground, confirmed, doing damage from Cole, headed towards Goldsby. At this current track, this would stay just north of Washington. Let's go back out to Michael Armstrong. Michael, give us an update on what you're seeing. We have Michael on. We can hear Michael here in the studio, so just a heads up. So this is what the storm looks like.
Okay, I'll talk to you. Can you hear me?
Okay, Michael, we hear you now. Go ahead, go.
Okay, I'm gonna repeat my report here that I just gave you. So what we're seeing right now, Damon, this storm, the tornado's wobbling a little bit. Now it was kind of moving. It moved through Cole and moving kind of easterly, but it reminds me a little bit of El Reno because it has switched directions now and it's moving northeast, and so our wind direction has shifted. And actually, we're missing a windshield wiper now. It ripped one of our windshield wipers off, not the tornado, but just the winds that are around it. That's how strong the winds are that are outside the tornado.
It is definitely, this is a bad storm. Again, this would clearly be one of the strongest storms that we have seen in Oklahoma in a very long time. And so it continues to do damage. There's Goldsby. By the way, severe thunderstorm warning for Oklahoma City for $half size hail. Again, for $half size hail. So there's that threat that we are watching right now coming up into the Goldsby area currently. So Goldsby, in your shelter, this is the tornado right here. Again, on the southwest side of Goldsby, moving up to the northeast right now. So this storm continues to move up to the north. We have it covered on the ground and up in the air. Michael, Shane, Sky 5, watching this storm, and so brand new tornado warning now coming in for this cell, moving up to northeast. A ton of rain, by the way, up in towards Cleveland County. By the way, severe thunderstorm warning for OKC. That storm over the airport, that has $half size hail. That's lifting up to the northeast. This storm right here is moving to the east. Norman, you're getting hit hard right now with a lot of hail. Let's go out to Shane Helton right now. Shane, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Damon, this is still looking like it's a huge tornado. We're actually racing, trying to get out of the way of it and it is extremely large tornado. And there's a lot of traffic here, not only just storm chasers, but the looky-loos. And I tell you what, I really am concerned about a lot of these people's safety because I don't think a lot of these people even understand what they are looking at because this thing is wrapped up in rain. And it's extremely hard to see this tornado because of all the rain and the golf ball size hail that is falling around our area. So it is just absolutely insane how bad it is down here. This is a very strong storm. It does have some stronger winds with the storm, but it's also possibly got a huge rain-wrapped tornado in it that is just unbelievable. And like I said, it's right on us. We're trying to get out of the way again.
Okay,
every time I stop, it's right there. Back to you, David.
Okay, be safe. Again, be safe. And so Shane, Michael, everyone watching this, again, this storm moving to the east. By the way, a ton of rain. There's a ton of rain out of this cell. Let's go back over to weather 5. Let's go back over to weather 5 and give you an update. So severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, for Cleveland County. Tornado warning here. And so Sky 5 is looking right into this, and this is going to be wrapped up, just tightly up in rain. Still have daylight. It's almost 8 o'clock, though, so the sun is setting, but this is producing, again, just a bunch of damage moving to the east. By the way, Oklahoma County, $half size hail. There's your area of rotation. Coming right into Goldsby, by the way. Goldsby, in your shelter right now, this new tornado warning does at least pull it up on the far northern fringes of Norman. By the way, I know getting some hail there on the south side of OU, but this storm continues to rotate tightly up to the northeast. I know you see a lot of red flashing polygons. What does it all mean? So basically, this storm is wobbling. This looks a lot like El Reno 2013, where it's basically kind of going in different directions here. But just know that from Goldsby down to the south side of Norman, there's an area of rotation. There's an area of rotation. That's tighter. That's tighter right there on the west side of Goldsby. That's another area to watch down by Washington, out towards Slaughterville. So definitely two areas of spin with this. This storm right now, this is just a wild storm that we are tracking. Storm Command's coming in right in behind it. Let me go back out to Michael. Michael, you're coming in behind it. Any damage that you've seen so far?
Not yet. We're getting ready to come up to the damage path. We're not quite there yet. It's kind of, Damon, it has definitely lifted northeast now. The storm has taken a left turn, and I don't know. If I'm in Goldsby, I'm still taking my tornado precautions right now because, honestly, I'm telling you, I'm right here with it, and I have no idea what it's going to do. And, oh, by the way, I think there's going to be maybe a new tornado spin up east of Washington. I don't know if you guys have talked about that yet. There's a new circulation about 6 miles to my southeast, a couple miles northeast of Washington, and that is starting to really look like that may become tornadic very shortly.
Full storm, Michael, continues to rotate, and it is rotating tightly as it's moving up to the northeast here. So we're going to continue to watch this. Again, tornado warning remains. A large, extremely dangerous tornado located near Goldsby, not moving very quickly, moving to the north at 15 miles per hour. So that right there. So here's a new circulation, and this one's going to take it back up to the north here. So I understand you see so much on the radar right now. And so we're going to make this as easy for you to understand as we can make it. So this area spin is now moving. It's splitting. It's moving up to the north. That's headed up towards the Riverwind Casino. That's your circulation. And at that current track, it's going to come up, cross over the Canadian River and up towards Sooner Mall, west side of I-35 with that area spin. Here's another area of rotation as well down by Washington. I'm telling you right now, this storm, this is not your everyday severe weather tornado warning that we see in Oklahoma. This storm is doing wild things right now, both moving up to the north and then another area that's rotating that's trying to move to the east, headed towards Noble and Slaughterville. So at this current track, moving up to the north, that would come towards the casino, OU, Sooner Mall, 809, 818, 819, OU, 821, downtown Norman, 825, and then we're getting into Hollywood Corners, 835. And then a bunch of communities there that are going to be right along Sooner Road as you go up into Oklahoma City. Let's go out to Chase Rutledge right now. Oh, wait, Michael has damage. Let's go out to Michael. That house is missing a roof. Oh, my gosh. Michael.
Yeah. Okay, so Damon, let me tell you where I'm at. I'm at Western is my north-south road, and Chestnut. I haven't seen anybody out here yet. I'm looking for people. But as of right now, I haven't seen anybody. I mean, one good thing about that is, Damon, is it didn't take out the walls. I know that sounds like kind of weird to say, but I mean, when a strong tornado, you don't see that right there. Okay. So as I come back to the left, here's what I'm seeing. This is right where the tornado crossed, and you can see this power pole is snapped off at the base. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so many tornado warnings on my phone. Sorry. I don't know if you guys can hear those warnings. I'm sorry if they're going off, but when we're around these tornadoes, our phones just go crazy sometimes with all the alerts, so I apologize for that. Yeah, we're in the damage path. We're going to see if we can work our way through this. But, Damon, I think the tornado's dissipated. I think the tornado west of Goldsby is dissipated, and the new one is going to try to spin up south of Noble, west of Slaughterville.
Okay, so Mike, be safe where you are. I know you always are, but Michael, that tornado has done damage. So still working two areas of rotation, and definitely still at least working two areas of circulation. We'll see how it evolves. Typically, the northern split becomes more of a hailer, and then it's the southern split that goes to the east here. So Sky 5, Shane, and Michael surrounding this storm right now. So if you're in Norman right now, I know things are a little concerning. So Norman right now, you already had one storm that made its way through the area. Let's hope this is the last, but it's still It's still out there. We're watching it. We're going to keep a close eye. That area of rotation is about 3 miles south of the Riverwind Casino, lifting up to the north. This area of rotation that's going to be down by Washington, moving to the east. You can see from Sky 5, emergency personnel, they are rushing right now as this tornado went from through Cole up towards Goldsby. But this is the new area of rotation east of Washington. Purcell, Lexington. You're south of this, you're doing okay. You're doing all right. But again, if you're in between Goldsby and Purcell, this storm continues to move to the east, headed towards Slaughterville and eventually towards Noble. Again, headed towards Noble. Watching this one right now as it continues. So tornado warning remains in effect. There are a lot of tornado warnings out there right now, and I understand that there's a lot of just concern about where the storm is moving, which storm is doing what. This is becoming the dominant storm now. This is becoming the dominant storm, and so the northern side is going to remain the hailer. Still concerning. Okay, real quick, let's zoom on out. We got to show a big picture right now of what's happening around the metro. I know there's a hailstorm. There's a lot of people's phones going off. Real quick, just want to give you an update on this warning that we have for OKC. Oh my goodness, that's some big hail right on top of the airport. Moving up to the northeast. That's radar picking up 3-inch size hail. That's moving up towards downtown Oklahoma City and eventually towards Spencer. So Will Rogers, OCCC 809 810. This is a hailer. This is not a tornado threat, but this will be a hail threat for sure with that storm lifting up to the northeast, headed towards the zoo, and then coming into the Thunder practice facility here right along Britton Road at 842. So we'll continue to watching that storm real closely. That's a hailer moving over downtown Oklahoma City. Let's go back down to the south here. Let's get an update on this storm. We have Chase, who's flying around the damage path right now. Michael already confirmed damage right now as well. But at this moment, at 8:05, the dominant circulation will be this cell right here between Washington and Slaughterville as that's moving to the east. On the northern side, that's becoming the hail threat right now, but still, this is a bad storm that's going to be on the south side of Norman as you make way down 77 towards Noble. Again, towards Noble with this cell moving to the east, headed towards Slaughterville right now. Let's check in with Shane. Do we have Shane Helton available? Let's go out to Shane. Shane, the strongest storm in the States, very close to you. Shane, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Damon, we're south of Goldsby. We're at the intersection of, let me look here real quick if it'll tell me. Anyways, we're on I-35. We're just south of Goldsby. We are watching a lot of this. We're still getting intermittent golf ball size hail. I could see where it had already done a lot of damage to the trees and things like that. I believe that there's looks like a lot of this is on the south side of us. However, we were also seeing some stuff up there on the north side of us. So this is not anything that people need to be around. And if you don't really know what you're doing, please stay home. Don't get out and go be a looky-loo. There's a lot of people parked underneath the overpasses, and that is dangerous. The winds increase as a tornado goes over the top of an overpass, and this is not a place for anybody to be. We are actually moving quite a bit to try and stay out of the way of this storm, and to try and stay out of the way of a rather large tornado at one time, and it's still not looking real great from our vantage point. But we definitely are keeping a close eye on it still, and we're trying to keep up with it. Damon, back to you. Okay, watching your shot real closely, and again, this storm is moving to the east, so the circulation will stay south. Will stay south. The Thunderbird stays south of Norman as it's moving to the east. A lot of hail within this as well right now. And so here's your hail core east of Goldsby. Goldsby to Washington. The worst of the storm is now moving away from you. But this hail core right on top of Noble, again, right on top of Noble, continues to make its way towards Etowah right now. So here's your hail on top of Noble. Still continues to show some extremely large hail, and we're still dealing with a hail threat as well right now, right over Oklahoma County. But that's your area of rotation, right on top of I-35, literally right on top of I-35 right now. Let's go out to Sky 5 if we can. Chase Rutledge, keeping a close eye on your picture. How's it look from your vantage point, Chase?
Well, I mean, it's looking ominous. You can see I don't know if those are power flashes in there or if it's lightning, but we're seeing a lot of that. And but we saw at one point, we thought we might have seen some rotation and possibly a funnel that came down, but we didn't see any debris being kicked up on the ground. We have been looking for damage on the ground. I know Michael Armstrong has been seeing some. We're going to continue to look for that. The sun has set, so we're going to start losing some of that light here in the next few minutes. But right now, the storm's still very active, making its way to the northeast, Damon.
So we'll watch your shot close. Again, I know we are losing some daylight. Let's go to South OKC. Ping pong ball size hail coming down right now in South OKC with this storm right here with your hail core right on top of the airport. That's right on top of the airport. Right by, here it is right here, the black that's right along I-240 at that current track that's moving right over downtown Oklahoma City. So Dell Campus, downtown Oklahoma City up to the Capitol. This is the zone right now where we are finding, again, up to ping pong ball size hail. That will do damage, and this is where you see the black. That is going to be your hail core right along I-240 to the north, lifting up to the northeast. The zoo, downtown Oklahoma City, big hail threat with this storm that is lifting up to the northeast. Chris Lee I believe Chris Lee is not going to be that far away, so we'll talk to him in just a little bit. Let's go back down the road, back down to our tornado warning with this cell that is just incredible right now. Checking in. Let's check in with field meteorologist Michael Armstrong. I know he's on damage. Is he still in his car? Okay, we'll get him in his car here so we can talk to him. Sky 5 looks like they're coming up on quite a bit of emergency personnel making their way through, but that is going to be the area of rotation very close to Slaughterville and south of Noble, moving towards Etowah. Again, moving towards Etowah right now, but there's your spin. That's your spin right there. There's Shane, there's Sky 5. Michael's going to be on damage right now on a community, on a home there. So, again, we'll go out to Michael here in just a bit. But once again, tornado warning remains. This is the only real active tornado warning that we have left now. It's going to be on this cell. The northern storms have weakened, although there is still quite a bit of rain. But there you go with this storm. So that's why we're paying a lot of attention to this storm, rightfully so, on the left-hand side. Keeping a close eye on it on the ground and up in the air. On the top left-hand side, Michael, just talked to him a few moments ago, came across damage, came across a home that had been hit there in the Cole area with this tornado, and still watching it as it continues to spin to the east. Let's go back out to Michael right now. Michael, what's an update? Give us an update from where you are.
Okay, Damon, Kyle's just getting a little bit of video, but we wanted to check on this family, James and Joyce Henderson here. They're okay. They were in their cellar, which is, thankfully they had a place to go, right? So they heard the warning, they got in their cellar, and they're safe. That's the most important thing. They do have a lot of damage on their property, and, but they've got family around, so they'll have a place to stay. We couldn't go on before we checked because there are people who live in this area. So it's been there's people who are upset who are just coming up to walk up to talk to them. So you feel it here when you're in the middle of the damage. I mean, it's very palpable. You feel the sense of loss and just the chaos and how terrible it is to go through a tornado.
Yeah, it is tough. I understand, Michael. Definitely is very tough. However, the circulation remains near the Canadian River right now between Washington and Slaughterville. Let's go to the Sky 5 right now if we can. Chase, are you getting power flashes where you are?
Sure looked like it. I was just asking Walter if it was a power flash or lightning, but it sure looked like power flashes. And I'm seeing a number of emergency crews on the ground driving around down there. And at one point, they had I-35 shut down. And I can tell you, Purcell had lost power, and it just now came back on. So Purcell's got power again. But there's a lot of areas in here that are still without power. And hopefully we'll be able to see if there is any damage. I know Michael's on some of it, but man, you can see the lightning from our shot here in Sky 5. Still a very active storm. All of the lights just went off in Purcell once again, so it's still very active, Damon, and it's far from over.
Yeah, it definitely is. So, okay, let's go back over to the radar. Let's look at the big picture right now. This storm continues to tighten up once again. this radar, that is a well-defined hook that remains south of Noble, east of Washington. Washington, you're good, but Slaughterville, you're still in your tornado shelter with this storm right here. This is tightening up once again. Now east of I-35, just south of Noble. So Sky 5 looking right into the storm. There's Shane, Derek Klein and his crew, and there's Michael Armstrong right there still watching these. And so this is actually a couple minutes ago, by the way. Here's an updated section, updated radar scan. Jonathan, you're tracking it out, watching this, still also watching out. There's still some big hail that's coming into South OKC. So Jonathan, it's 8:13 right now, but it is still very active. What stands out to you right now, Jonathan?
Well, I'm really hyper-focused, obviously, on the tornado warning, and that's going to be south of Noble, near Slaughterville. So I've highlighted the area of circulation, that little hash mark that I drew. That's kind of looking back where the circulation was at about 15 minutes ago. And so just kind of doing a little time lapse, looking at the circulation. Is it increasing? Not necessarily. It's still there. It's very noticeable. This is a big hook echo. This is kind of an HP supercell, high precipitation based. So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see much with it. Sky 5 is literally like 2 miles south of the hook. He's right there. And from his shot, occasionally you can see, the lightning strikes, but I think the circulation, he's losing daylight. It's probably about 4 miles to his due north. And so the circulation's not tight. On a scale of 1 to 5, I give it like a 1.5 to a 2 right now. I think it was a little bit stronger, maybe about 15 minutes ago, but these storms can cycle. So that's for that storm. But then Damon, we still have big hail, which is, that's not good. I don't see any good any circulation, but I just see big hail over. This is near OCCC, I-240, I-44 coming into the South Metro. And that's not tornado warning, that's a severe thunderstorm warning for big hail.
That is a lot of hail. And again, this storm is warned right here for ping pong ball size hail. So, and that's coming into the south side of OKC, lifting up to the northeast. So here we go once again. This should be, let's hope, the last hailstorm that we're going to deal with for this evening across Oklahoma City. But I believe this is now number 3 with this storm. Once again, south of downtown OKC, lifting up to the northeast. There's Chris Lee right now out by Tinker. Chris, another large hailstorm right in front of you. Chris, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, we're moving back into Oklahoma City from the east. The storm that we were watching had quite a bit of hail with it, and I guess this one, that we got another one coming through, kind of on the track one of the earlier ones took. It's, I guess it has a little more eastward. The one we followed to the airport, it went up towards Edmond. This one looks like it's going to go towards downtown and then maybe out a little bit north of Midwest City. But we are not seeing, we're just in a very light precip right now. When we'll get into the heavier stuff, we'll give you a little better update, Damon. Okay,
so just a heads up, just west of you, Chris, the storm is dropping big hail again. I know you're already in it once. We're out by Tinker, but it's still ongoing there with that storm. Okay, let's go back down to the south. Actually, let's just show the big picture real quick. Let's zoom out, show everyone what's happening, because there are a couple other storms that are now popping up. Severe thunderstorm warnings down by Lawton, and as you make your way down by the Red River. These are moving up to the northeast, by the way. And they do have at least a bit of an inflow notch into them. So we're not done with the storms. These are, however, severe thunderstorm warnings inside of a tornado watch, and that goes until 8:30 Stevens County. We'll continue to watch that for Rush Springs and southern Grady County. Let's go back up to this tornado warning that we have right now. And this storm still continues to be significant. Actually, real quick, Jonathan, let's go to Stillwater. Let's go to Payne County real quick. Just want to give an update for those up in the Payne County area, especially on the north side. This storm is still dropping hail. It's a severe thunderstorm warning right now. And again, that's going to be for hail with that storm lifting up to the northeast. And so this storm right now warned for $half size hail with that cell, especially on the north side, and where the hail core is going to be on the west side of Lake McMurtry there, just east of I-35. And that's lifting up to the northeast. And that's headed up towards Pawnee, eastern Noble County. Sky 5 is going to be on what appears to be quite a lot of emergency crews, I should be saying there, down in Noble. If you see that picture there on the left-hand side, that's going to be down by McLean County. So again, track on this hail core out of Payne County up towards Sumner, Bills Corner, Sooner Lake, 841. to 9:03. Right now it is 8:17. Okay, let's go back down the road. Let's get an update on our tornado warning that we have because this storm continues to still pack quite a punch here. Definitely an inflow notch in there. It is still rotating very close to Slaughterville, between Noble and Slaughterville, moving to the east. This is the only tornado warning that we have in the state right now as it's continuing to move eastbound. There's Shane. There's Derek Klein and his team right there watching this. It does appear that at least the circulation, it is there. It's not nearly as strong as what we saw even a couple minutes ago, but it's still rotating and still dropping big hail, and a rotation tracker continues to be quite significant enough for there to be a tornado warning on this cell moving to the east here. Once again, that track, Etowah, 847, Burnett, 902, and then Macomb at 913. Again, 913 with that cell moving to the east here. So again, that's the only tornado warning that we have currently in place. As far as the overall severe weather threat that we're watching, overall the risk will be coming down as we go towards midnight hour here. So this will not be an all-night event, but it's still going to be lasting. Let me go up to Chase Rutledge if I can. Chase Rutledge, I know you're coming up on a bunch of emergency crews. They are gathering right now. Have you heard anything up in the air, Chase?
I haven't, Jonathan, or haven't, Damon. We're continuing to look in this area to see if we see any damage. There are a number of emergency crews out, and we've seen some power line damage. We've also seen some trampolines. You know, those are always the first to go if they're not anchored down. But this is an area that took the direct hit, and we're still looking in this area. We are trying to make our way back to the Oklahoma City area because we're starting to lose light. But we'll be able to get back safely. But right now, yeah, this is an area that we're keeping an eye on, Damon.
Certainly hearing quite a bit of damage there down in McLean County. By the way, speaking of Oklahoma City, let's go back up to OKC, get an update on the hail threat that's coming into south sides of OKC right now because it's still quite significant on the south side, moving up to the northeast. And so while we're not looking at a hail threat, we're still looking at the threat for some considerable damage with a lot of hail with this storm that basically extends from the airport. Talk about the storm is hardly moving. So definitely a lot of heavy rain on this one as well. But hail from basically Will Rogers right along I-240 towards Lightning Creek. Here's downtown Oklahoma City. There's Chris Lee. We can get Chris on the phone here in just a moment. Want to talk to him because Chris, large hail. Our radar is pinging the largest hail, by the way, Chris, very close to Lightning Creek in South Oklahoma City. Chris, heads up with what's coming in your direction. Give us an update, Chris, with what you're seeing.
Yeah, I was just talking to Sabrina, who's been telling our crews where everything is. I wasn't sure my radar was updating because that storm just doesn't appear to be moving, and that does seem to be the case. My radar's just fine. The storm is just not moving, and that does make us worried a little bit about flooding. And also, you know, if you get that hail over a period of time, the more damage it's going to do. So we're kind of headed for that area. We're at the intersection of Fort Smith Junction of I-40 and I-35. So headed down 35, and we'll give you a report when we see a little bit of hail.
Okay, so and again, that storm it's a big one, and there is now a flood advisory that was just issued just moments ago that basically runs from South Oklahoma City down into Cleveland County and then down into Norman because these storms, they have really slowed down a lot. I mean, they have slowed down a lot. So definitely a hail threat, definitely a flooding threat. It continues with this storm that is almost just anchored down to the ground. And so here's your new flood advisory, by the way. Again, South Oklahoma City, down into Moore, down into Norman. Let's get an update, by the way, with our tornado warning that remains in effect as we go down to the south here because this still continues and it's not as tight, still rotating, but it's not nearly as well defined as what we saw earlier out in the Cole area. So still some rotation in between Noble and Slaughterville, especially on the north side here. But at least this storm has trended in a bit of a better direction. Tornado warning still remains as it's still rotating. It's still finding two areas of rotation. But again, it's not spinning as hard as what we saw before. Michael is going to be out in Goldsby if he's available. I do want to talk to Michael real quick here because, Michael, storm threat continues. It's slowly shifting to the east, but, Michael, these storms are now nearly stationary. What a flood threat now setting up. Michael, what do you see?
Well, we are on the backside of the storm, so honestly, we're seeing tremendous lightning now on the backside of the storm. I'm just really thankful, Damon, that the folks that we had damage. I wasn't sure we were going to be able to get underneath through that damage where the power lines were, but we were able to make it. We're working our way back over toward the storm. You can still see it's a very powerful supercell. This thing is rotating. It's very intense. It's been intense the whole time. When we saw that tornado spin up there at Cole, you knew at that point that we're dealing with a different animal. Up until that point, it was kind of like maybe small spin ups here and there, a lot of large hail. We had a ton of hail, but that was a different deal. And then we had this new tornado that spun up as well. It was back here, back closer to Washington for that new tornado warning. So we're going to mosey our way like up here toward Highway 9. We're going to come back over toward Etowah and try to get ourselves back into position where we can get back on the storm. But what an experience to have seen that. And everybody that we talked to was okay. They were all checking on family members. People were crying. It was emotional, but everybody was okay, thankfully.
Good, and that's good to hear. Sky 5 showing some of the damage up in the air. If we can go over to Sky 5, want to go full. This is tornado damage from Sky 5, and again, just look at this right here. And so that roof is gone off of this home, and it looks like off of that shed as well. But just look at the debris. The debris is basically just thrown across this property right here. This is, you hate to see this right here, but just look at the debris. I mean, it's basically just stretched into that field and up there. And there's debris. Remember, our radar was pinging all of this debris up in the storm, and that is it right there. So this is Sky 5 is confirming exactly what our radar and the technology that we have here at KOCO 5 was indicating as well, is that this storm, it was on the ground. This tornado was on the ground. It was doing damage. We were hoping that the debris that we were detecting were trees. Unfortunately, they were homes. And so, and that storm still continues. This is it right here. Talk about a ton of rain that is coming in with this. It is still tornado warning, and this warning goes until 8:45. That is for yet another 20 minutes right now. Here's a little rotating couplet right here, just on the north side of Slaughterville, southeast of Noble. That is it right there. It is not as strong as what we saw even about an hour ago, but it's still present on the radar. And so again, we're gonna take it as serious as we can. Again, I know when you're looking at the radar, the velocity images earlier, they were just screaming, but yikes. Let's go back over to Sky 5, by the way. More damage, and just look at this damage right now that Sky 5 is showing us right now. I mean, that is just timber that is just blown all over the place. This looks like new construction. So that right there, that's just new construction. Probably the foundation was poured, but you can see right here what the homes that were up, again, they have been damaged, and just look at all that debris that is just scattered through here. So again, there is debris right there. Again, this all looks like new homes that were in the process of being built. So new construction down here. Let me go to Chase, by the way. Hey, Chase, I know you're still coming up and you're kind of combing through the damage path right now, Chase, but does that look like new construction with what you're seeing?
Yeah, Damon, it does look like new construction. This looks like a new development, but still a lot of damage in this area. And you were able to see from our shot here in Sky 5 a lot of tree damage, and we were able to see kind of where the path of this storm is, and it made its way just to the south of Riverwind Casino, and that's kind of where we are now. We're about 2 miles south of Riverwind Casino, and we're seeing a lot of damage here in this area just to the south of Norman. I know tomorrow we'll probably come back out here in the daylight and be able to see a whole lot more, but we're starting to lose that light pretty quick, Damon.
Yeah, definitely. And so again, you got to head home. So be safe again. Losing a lot of daylight, and so right now it is 8:30. But here's what we know in the images that Sky 5 has been providing us. Chase Rutledge up in the air, is that obviously this storm did a lot of damage across, and so they're continuing to do search and rescue. And so you can see there's a lot of homes that have been damaged. Michael saw it on the ground. Michael's been reporting it on the ground. We're reporting it up in the air. And so again, you can see here some homes that have taken on some damage. And the storm is still ongoing, so we can't put our guard down just quite yet. Let's head back over to the radar. And so definitely looking at a bit of a different radar perspective here, and the fact that the storm is still ongoing. There's still rotation. It's not as tight, but it's still there. So we have a flood threat. We have a tornado threat as with this moving to the east. And so Etowah, about 9 o'clock, Burnett, Tribby about 9:15, 9:19. Hey, Jonathan, let's go back up in the South OKC. Let's check in with Chris Lee on this hailstorm that's coming into southern parts of Oklahoma City right now and get an update from him because he's right in the heart of this, right along I-240 and I-40. Chris Lee, give us an update on what you're seeing. Any hail where you are?
David, not getting a hail right now, although you can see I've switched to the dash camera because the roof camera is just getting awfully wet. We're going underneath the bridge here, and every bridge we've come down at 35, it's like this. Cars pulled off. They're pulling off and on. It just really, I know we've talked about how dangerous it is, but not seeing any hail right now. Very heavy rain, and I know we're gonna start west on 240 here, and this is the exit right here. And when we, I think we'll pick it up fairly shortly after that. But there's a lot of ponding, water on the roadway. There's just been several storms that have trained over this same area, as well as this storm now that's kind of stationary. So there have been some issues. There just going to have to be some issues with flooding, I'm afraid, once in the next little while. I'm seeing the ditches full and, like I said, the water encroaching on the roadways at some places.
Yeah, definitely the water is coming up here. And there is a flood advisory, by the way, in this storm. This storm is not moving at all. I mean, it is just stuck on top of Oklahoma City at this moment. It's been doing this for a while now. We're getting rain. We're going to get rain reports in South OKC around 2 to 4 inches. This storm has dropped a lot of rain, especially down to the southwest. And so just buried in all of the weather headlines tonight between the tornado threat and the large hail threat, also a flooding threat. And the storm is still rotating. Again, it's not as strong, but it's still a tornado warning that's still in effect for another 15 minutes for this cell right here that is going to be now northeast of Slaughterville. Slaughterville, you're okay. But looking towards Etowah, it's headed in your direction once again. So it almost looks like, Jonathan, this storm is nearly stationary. If it's moving, it's barely moving. What do you see on the radar?
Yeah, right, it's not moving very quickly. So it's kind of anchored. A little bit concerned about that because if it stalls out, we could and I didn't expect that this morning. I thought the storms would have moved on out and there would be maybe a couple different waves, but did not expect to see much of a flash flooding risk. I'll say this, we need the rain, and as you always say, Damon, you need a flood to get rid of the drought. But yeah, the storm has anchored. So we'll just pull the radar back here and do a little time lapse over the last 30 minutes. And that's all the further it's gone. So, and we'll go back to like even an hour and we can see how far it's gone. So there it is. And 1 hour back, it was out near Dibble. So it's not moving very quick, and it's actually slowed down here in the last couple scans. That's with the storm. Near Slaughterville, still tornado warning, still has a weak circulation. Gonna have to watch what's happening over OKC because this storm has absolutely stalled. It's really not moving. So prolific rainmaker, a little bit of hail, but it has stalled out from like OCCC, and notice that back built a little bit. So there's like a flanking line that developed from OCCC back towards Will Rogers World Airport. So it's stalled out. I imagine eventually that it's going to get blocked from the storm to the south, and that's going to cut off all the fuel going into it. I couldn't imagine it lasting for more than an hour, but we'll see.
Yeah, and the way that this storm is basically stuck is that at least that will help bring down a bit of the hail threat, but it's going to flood. I mean, it may not be a huge flood, but you're definitely going to get a ton of water. I mean, it is coming down right now. Chris Lee's right in the middle of it. He seems to find himself in the middle of these type of storms quite often, and so he's on I-240. Chris, the rain that is coming down is just incredible. So, Chris, give us an update. Have you found any hail, even small hail yet with this cell?
Definitely found hail. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to a lot of water covering the road, but I think there's hail in with it. Can you kind of see the tracks in the? You kind of see the fog coming off of it, but yeah, there's that much hail here on the ground. What we're not getting as much falling on us right now. What we were getting a little bit ago was nickels to quarters. We haven't seen anything as big as golf balls, but there's just a lot of it.
It's just back,
and it's making driving here on 240 very difficult. We're just seeing, people pulling off the road. We've seen areas where we saw a car pull off onto a entrance ramp and just water sprayed everywhere. So there's a lot of they just had an awful lot of rain and hail here, and it's still coming down. Not getting, as we move close to the airport, we're getting more hail over towards western to Penn than we are between Penn and May. David?
Yeah. Hey, let's go Sky 5 real quick. I know it is getting dark, and Chase, you do an amazing job up in the air, but Chase, what is this right here? Is that a, what are we looking at right here? Is that a church in front of us that looks like there's a lot of damage? What do you see?
Damon, it looks like it's just, it doesn't look like a church. It might be, but this is in the area of Cole. This is Cole. This is where the tornado had the most damage. We're seeing a number of emergency crews all over this area. There doesn't look like there's a lot of power in this area either, but look at all the damage here in this one section right here. This is at the intersection, I believe. It's right there. It's the middle of Cole. This is where Cole is, but we're starting to get more and more damage. The light is really starting to get dark, but we are able to see quite a bit of what this tornado did through this area, and man, it's pretty extensive.
It absolutely is. And so again, Chase, we definitely appreciate your reports up in the air, and we know tomorrow morning when the sun comes up, we're going to see a lot more damage. But the storm, by the way, let's go back over to the radar. It is back building over more. You can just see it filling back in. It looks like in the last couple of radar scans, there's been a slight move to the east. Look, I understand we need the rain. Rain is always desperately needed this time of the year. But this storm is going to flood a lot of things if we don't get it moving soon. By the way, the storm is still rotating. The tornado warning, which, by the way, still remains in effect for another 10 minutes. It is going to be for this cell. There's Shane up towards Slaughterville. This storm is moving to the east, continues. And so Etowah at 8:57. Macomb at 9:33. You can definitely see from a reflectivity standpoint, there's still a well-defined inflow notch. This storm, when you're looking at it, it's not done yet. The tornado threat still continues. While it definitely is not as potent, as strong as what we saw when it went through Cole, this is the same storm, and this storm is still ongoing. So for southern Cleveland County and then going into Pottawatomie County, this threat is still very real for you, and so we're going to continue to make sure that you know everything that is coming in your direction with this cell right here. We're covering the storm south of Oklahoma City, we're covering the storms in Oklahoma City, and we're covering the damage right now in Cole. Wow, look at that picture from Chris Lee right there of just the water that is just going over. Let's go back over the Chris Lee shot if we can, because the water that's just coming through there. Let's go out to Chris. Chris, unbelievable. What do you see? Yeah, Chris, Chris, unbelievable with all that water. What are you seeing right now?
Yeah, we are on South May, just south of OCCC. We're southbound. This is where we kind of watch that storm sit. We're not getting any precipitation now. It's very light, but we went through almost a half a mile there where there was at least 6 inches of water over the road on this outside lane. So there is some street flooding, that's for sure. And I got to think that all this water is running off into ditches and into creeks, and it's going to cause a problem here in South Oklahoma City, I'm afraid.
It absolutely will. It does appear that, Chris, at least the storm is starting to get pulled away, but these are just rain totals really just in the last 3 to 4 hours, 2 inches plus. And so you can definitely see there, if you saw it just moments ago, there was a lot of water there on the side of the road there. So, okay, let's go back over to the radar. once again. So Sky 5 is still looking at all the damage from here. The storm is starting to slowly lift away, but if you're east of I-35, I'm gonna tell you right now, from Tinker down to Norman and Moore, east side of Moore, this storm is packing a lot of heavy rain, and this circulation is picking back up now, very close to the community of Needmore. That is going to be south of Thunderbird, but just look at that. I mean, this is what we were looking at earlier with this storm as it was moving to the east. So Etowah, 858, Burnett, 918, Tribby, and Macomb, 918 to 924. This right here, this storm did what you're seeing there in the left-hand side of your television screen, damage. So southern Cleveland County going in the Pottawatomie County, heads up. This is what's headed in your direction. We would love it if this storm would just basically fizzle out, but it hasn't yet. If Shane Helton's available, we'll get him on the phone here in just a bit. But Shane, just a heads up, what we are seeing from a radar standpoint, and Shane, I know it's dark, but this storm is ramping back up just east of you. Shane, what do you see from your vantage point?
I don't know if we can get there, Chip, but we're going to try.
We can still see a lowering. However, we have absolutely no internet, so I can't show you any video unless it has suddenly popped back up. But we've been watching a lowering off of that storm for a long time. The traffic is extremely heavy. We're trying to get around the traffic. We're having a real hard time getting around the traffic. There's a lot of looky-loos out here, a lot of storm chasers, and we're coming up into some road construction now, it's even harder. But either way, we know that there is something going on in this storm, and we just cannot get right up close to it yet. But we're doing the best we can. We had the river that was in our way, so we had to go around, and all the problems you have when you're out trying to storm, but we are coming back around. As soon as we get internet connection, you'll be able to see our video, and we'll get you some. In fact, it should be coming up here any minute, Damon.
Okay.
Our video should be coming up right now. So we'll be back here in just a few moments.
Okay, we'll talk to you in a second. Again, that picture coming in from Shane Helton. We heard Michael there in the background as well. So Michael coming out of Cole, you can see him right here. But the storm is not over, so brand new tornado warning will likely be issued any second now. That will go east. And it will likely stay south of Pink as you make your way towards Brooksville, Burnett, and Tribune. There it is right there. So brand new tornado warning with this cell lifting up to the northeast towards Etowah, 9 o'clock. Let's go out to field meteorologist Michael Armstrong. Michael, brand new tornado warning just issued with this cell. I tell you what, this storm still looks powerful on radar. Michael, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Oh, absolutely, Damon. We just had a huge funnel just on the backside of the cell. A little bit difficult now that it's night to tell whether it was a tornado or not. But this thing, I'll tell you what, from a velocity standpoint, I would be very 1, 2, 3, 4 miles west of Etowah right now. So I don't know if it's going to go due east into Etowah or if it's going to meander on up more toward Macomb or Tribby. It's going to probably move slow again. But we're gonna punch through the core again, and we'll try to do something similar to what we did earlier. It's a little bit more difficult at night, and cell service is not great over here. You've been hearing that from Shane. It's just part of what we deal with when we're over here in rural parts of eastern Cleveland County, and you go on into Pottawatomie and Seminole County as well. So, but I agree with you. I think that it's very likely that there's a tornado on the ground right now, just west of Etowah.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely can probably confirm that. I mean, with this tightening of the radar right now. And so Etowah, Needmore. So this is going to be northeast of Slaughterville. Slaughterville, you're not in the new tornado warning, but this continues to ramp up. And so this is moving to the east. So here's Little Axe on top of your screen. You have Lake Thunderbird on top of your screen as well. So this could be south, but this is still Cleveland County, but we're south of Norman, but this is still moving to the east here. So that continues to still be very concerning and will likely still be doing damage there. This is the same storm that went through Cole earlier and did quite a bit of damage. So once again, tornado warning remains with this cell moving to the east. And again, this storm is still ongoing. This new warning now goes until 9:30. Until 9:30, Cleveland County, and also going into Pottawatomie County. But when you think about what a tornadic cell looks like, that's it. That is what it looks like. Here's your inflow, and here's your hook echo right there east of Slaughterville. So this storm is still pulling in wind. It is still rotating and it is doing it south of Thunderbird. Thunderbird, I know you're getting a lot of hail. You're on the hail side of this right now. The hail should be wrapping up soon, but this storm is not moving. It is not moving very fast. Right now it's moving max speed 15 miles per hour. And so, oh no, that continues to ramp up. And so not picking up debris yet, but we'll watch the next scan to come in near the community of Needmore west of Etowah, moving up to the northeast with this one right here. So again, Norman, you're not in the tornado warning with this cell. This cell and this tornado warning is primarily going to be confined for southern Cleveland County and then going into Pottawatomie County right now. But still, this storm, it's a dangerous one. On the left-hand side of your television screen, we're covering it on the ground, up in the air. So if you're just now getting home, by the way, large tornado went right through Colt. There's been damage, and Michael and our crew has been reporting on that. But this cell continues to still rotate to the east, and not very quickly. Again, not very quickly right now. So let's pull on out here. Let's show the big picture and what we're dealing with right now across the state, because again, you can see here, western Oklahoma, you've been storm free. Storms up to north, those are moving out of here, out of Perry. Still have a severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, for southern Oklahoma City, northern Cleveland County. At one point, this storm was warned for ping pong ball size hail. The overall hail sizes, they've come down a little bit, but the storm is nearly stationary. If it's moving under 5 miles per hour. So it's dropping a ton of rain. There's Chris Lee, by the way. Let's check in with Chris if we can. Chris, what's it like right now in South OKC?
Well, fortunately, Damon, it has stopped raining. We were kind of wondering, we just got off of the interstate and noticing cars parked under the bridge under the interstate, which is a much safer place than being under the bridge on the interstate, which we've seen a lot of. But it has stopped raining here. We are still seeing a lot of water on the roadways. We're kind of checking some of the areas out that typically flood and waiting to see if there's any kind of downstream flooding. I know South Oklahoma City, most of the area flows into Lightning Creek, which then goes into the Oklahoma River, and that, while it has quite a bit of drainage area, sometimes can get up and out of its banks. So we're going to kind of check that area and see if there are any issues. But right now, fortunately, it has stopped raining and hailing, at least this far south. They're coming up on 29th and Independence. David?
So just a heads up, and so let's go back over to the radar, but it's still hailing in Cleveland County, by the way, down into Moore. And even as you go all the way down in towards Norman. So, by the way, this little cell right here is dropping anywhere between $50 at the golf balls. It's right there. I mean, that right there, and just checked. And so, again, there's golf ball size hail in that cell right there that is moving up to the northeast. So there's a small hail core it's packing a punch. And that's it right there. Golf balls easily on the east side of Moore and in towards OKC at 149th and Sooner Road, with that cell moving up to northeast. So just a heads up, there's still some hail. The storm is slowly getting pulled out of here, but there's still some hail, not in South OKC as much, but it's still there in Cleveland County. Okay, let's go get an update, by the way, on a tornado warning that was issued not that long ago. The update that we have down into southern Cleveland County, and as we go into Pottawatomie County, looking at this tornado threat from a reflectivity standpoint, I mean, it's still going. It is still going near Etowah. Again, on the north side of Etowah, you can definitely see the rotation right there. Just 1 mile north of Etowah, pretty close. And so as that's moving to the east here, headed towards Brooksville, south of Tecumseh, not moving very quickly at about 15 miles per hour, but this storm is still doing it. Burnett, Macomb, Brooksville, 911, 928, 941. With this storm. Let's check in with Storm Command right now. Michael Armstrong. Michael, tornado warning remains. Give us an update on what you're seeing.
Tremendous out here right now, southeast of Norman with this storm. There is still some evidence of rotation, perhaps not quite as strong as what it was earlier, but the radar is going through a lot of the precipitation. We're going to be coming in again right behind it, and we should have a better view of the wall cloud and the lowering and all of that. You can see, just look at the storm right now and just the electricity in it, Damon. It's almost continuous. It's like a fireworks show out here right now, southeast of Norman with this storm. It is still packing a punch here as it's moving over toward Tribby, Brooksville, and perhaps toward Tecumseh. I don't know. It looks like it may pass a little south of Tecumseh, but don't count on that. Just you guys all need to monitor this storm very closely here, eastern Cleveland County into Pottawatomie County, and we'll be right behind it here very shortly.
Yeah, okay, we'll watch this one again. So, by the way, brand new severe thunderstorm warning coming out for Cleveland County, east side of Moore, out towards southeast OKC, out by Stanley Draper. So definitely getting some hail with that. This storm is still rotating, by the way. So there's Storm Command. There's going to be Shane Helton watching this storm. It's not moving very fast. It's moving very slowly to the east. But Etowah, you're still in your tornado shelter with this storm right now. What do you have, Michael? Jonathan?
Reported power flashes in Etowah.
Okay. How's debris signature, by the way? Look, this storm is going into area a lot more trees.
A little bit.
And so, yeah, starting to see a little bit in there. It's not very well defined. There's a lot that you have to look at in order to see the debris that's within this. But still, we'll watch it moving to the east. It's definitely still rotating, absolutely, on the north side of Etowah. And as you go southeast of Lake Thunderbird, here's Thunderbird right here. Here's Etowah. That's the tornado. The hail side of it, by the way, still hailing, Thunderbird up to the east side of Moore. Definitely some big hail with that too, by the way, up to golf ball size, moving up to northeast. Check in with Shane Helton. Shane Helton, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Damon, we're coming up from the backside of this storm. Like you said, it's not moving very fast. We're doing the best we can to get around traffic, but we are seeing power flashes. So I still believe that there's something in that storm. And, of course, the tornado warning is still ongoing. But we're definitely seeing some power flashes, and it's not lightning because it's low in the sky, close to the ground. So I truly believe that those are power flashes because it's not looking good for Etowah right now, Damon. I'll just tell you that. It's not looking good. I hope everybody's in their storm shelters, and I hope that anybody in the path of this is paying close attention to what's going on. Damon, back to you.
Absolutely, and so we're here to make sure everyone knows what's headed in their direction and doing it with the simplest language as possible. I understand in these type of situations, seconds matter, and so we want to make sure you know what's happening, but that would be the tornado. Still there, still rotating on the northeast of Etowah, and so looking downstream, I understand, look, Tecumseh, Brooksville, Macomb, you're not in the tornado warning, but you're close. Prepare for the warning to be issued. Up to the north on the hail side, this storm is still going, by the way, up into Moore and on the east side. As a matter of fact, let's check the hail product, the hail tracker that we have on the east side of OKC, southeast OKC down by Draper, up and towards the east side of Moore because this new warning is for a little area right here that's going to be up towards Belmar. And here you go right here. There's been a lot of hail. But that right there, Moore, east side of Moore, it's hailing right now. I understand, I know, not good at all, but as we mentioned earlier, this was going to be a night where there would be a lot of insurance claims filed. And so this is severe warn. Here's your hail core right here, right on top of Sooner Road, 149th, 134th. Let's go back down the road. Let's check in with Michael Armstrong. Michael, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yep, just had another tornado. We have a tornado. Just saw it in the flashes of the lightning. We're right behind it, a few miles, but there was no question. Absolutely a tornado. We still have debris. We actually have leaves falling right here, right now. Damon, there's still. We're very near the damage path. If this is a continuous tornado track, we're going to have to be really careful here because some of the power poles may be down, so we have to proceed with caution. But there was no question. A condensation funnel all the way to the ground.
All right, so Michael, and just be safe, by the way. I understand, the hazards that you all come across, and so I know you are safe. You always are safe. But Michael, now looking at night, you have to look for lightning strikes, and so it's the sunset, and so chasing takes on a little bit of a different threat tonight. And again, looking for the lightning, and so we'll keep Michael shot up there. But this is what Michael's looking right into. He's looking right into this. North of Etowah, south of Pink. So there's Thunderbird. Thunderbird, the rotation of the tornadic threat is going to be down to your southeast now. Moving to the east, that minimum right there, that blue, and I understand this looks like a bucket of spilled paint. So we'll keep this real simple. That blue right there, that's your debris. So that's the blue, that's the debris. This blue right here, not debris, but this right here is debris coming in. Let's go back out to Michael. Michael, we had you live just a couple seconds ago, but do you still see the tornado through the lightning strikes?
Well, the problem is that there's so many trees and hills over here. I'm looking, and I'll let you know if you just want to stay with me. I'll just kind of walk you through it play by play. As I get breaks in the trees, I'll watch for the tornado. But we're right behind it, and here's the deal. If you live just north of Etowah, you just playing that there's a tornado. If you live northeast of Etowah, up toward Tecumseh, can you believe that? I mean, how many times have we seen this? Oh, something happened here. We're just coming on something. I don't know what's going on. This is the damage path, and we got emergency vehicles here. I don't know. Let me figure out what's going on, and I'll be back with you here in a second.
Okay, we'll talk to you just a little bit there, Michael. So still significant rotation, definite debris within this storm, and Michael's coming up on what appears to be some damage, probably doing some search and rescue there. Something's across the road there. So it looks like a bunch of leaves. Yeah, it looks like a bunch of leaves there across the road. They'll continue to look at it. We'll talk to Michael in just a bit. But that's a tornado. This is still a serious situation, by the way, as this is still rotating right on the Cleveland County, Pottawatomie County line now. So we're southeast of Thunderbird, moving up to the east, northeast. The tornado warning polygon barely goes into Pottawatomie County, but I'm telling you right now, if you're east from Bethel Acres to Brooksville to Tecumseh, this is still a serious storm. I know technically you're not in the tornado warning yet, but be prepared for a new one to be issued. Given the slow movement, we're giving you plenty of time to know what's headed in your direction. Jonathan, this right here, this is tightening up.
No doubt. The storm that Michael's on, the Etowah storm, I get it. Big hook echo, debris ball, not good. By the way, look at this storm. This is hooking up too. I don't know if it has a proper inflow. I'll watch it with velocity, but that's a hook echo. And we know that it's, per your report at your house, it's got big hail. So if it has big hail, it has a strong mesocyclone. If it has a strong mesocyclone and it has a hook echo, pretty good chance this one, the inflow notch coming in here, could that be our next tornado warning? We'll watch it closely, but got to watch, obviously, Michael's storm, the Etowah storm, because that's a nasty storm. I mean,
it is. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that right there, I mean, that's bad.
That's a really tight circulation. That's gate to gate with high velocity.
This looks a lot like what it was doing over Cole when this storm was going through there. And so you get, yeah, I mean, it looks bad. It looks really bad. And so, again, for those of you that are going to be now north of Etowah, southeast of Thunderbird, south of Pink, this right here, this is a bad situation for those in far southeastern Cleveland County, getting ready to cross in the Pottawatomie County. And so this is the only tornado warning we have right now, but this looks bad, especially with the sun going down. This is not good. Let's go back out to Storm Command. Michael was on this same storm that produced a lot of damage in Cole. Michael, what we're seeing right now on radar, this looks horrible. What do you see, Michael? Okay, we'll get Michael back on there in just a second, popping in and out. And this is, by the way, when there are tornadoes that go through and they knock out cell coverage, text messaging tends to work a little bit better. Just keep that in mind. So in the meantime, this is where the tornado is, right on Cedar Lane Road, south of Alameda. By the way, we're well south and east of Lake Thunderbird. This is going to be the county line between Cleveland going into Pottawatomie County here. But this storm continues to spin. It is rotating hard as it goes to the east here. Once again, this is going to be southeast of Thunderbird. That's away from Norman. Although Norman, we're still getting quite the storm, by the way. If Michael's available, we'll talk to Michael in just a second. Michael's not available. We'll get him back on here in just a moment. But when you get into these late night events, this is not good. There's Shane Helton, by the way. So Shane, we'll go out to Shane in just a little bit. But Shane, just a heads up, this storm is getting stronger and stronger and stronger just to the northeast of you. So you very well could be coming up on damage as well. So we'll reconnect with them in just a moment. But once again, this is a bad storm that's moving to the east and then up to the northeast. This is the only tornado warning that we have ongoing right now, although the potential is certainly still going to be there for other areas of rotation. let me just pan on out here because I want to double check real quick. So what we were looking at in Norman, it doesn't look nearly as well pronounced, by the way. There is inflow into it over Franklin, up in towards Pepperwell Oaks and up into Belmar. Hail is going to be, by the way, on the east side of Sooner. Here's your hail core. That's going to be your golf ball size hail. That's moving over Draper. Inflow into this, but fortunately, while there is inflow into it, it's not rotating as tight. And again, it's a severe thunderstorm warning, but want to give you all an update with that once again, moving to the east. Overall, it does appear that the storm is starting to kind of pick up a little bit of motion and moving out of here. And it's been dumping a lot of rain, especially in South OKC. I understand it's been a long night. The sun is set, but we're going to be dealing with quite the insurance claims, I'm afraid to say, for a good portion of the area. So right now, just looking at all of the storms, you can see right here, up towards the zoo, hail, west side of OKC, you're done. Bethany, out towards the airport, you're done. We're not, though, on the east side of Moore, going into Cleveland County, in eastern Oklahoma County. And then this storm still continues to just be concerned as it's now slowly crawling out of Cleveland County and going into Pottawatomie County. It has not been a good night. Oh. Okay, so right on the border with Cleveland County and Pottawatomie County, that's a tornado right there, right on the border, moving to the east, and this thing continues to just tighten up. So Bethel Acres at 9:48, Bethel High School at 9:53 with this hook echo right here with this storm moving to the east. This has been a day that has just been incredible, a very active day across Oklahoma. It is severe weather season in Oklahoma, but today has been one of those days where the cap broke, storms went off the dry line, and you can see what happens when you have an unstable atmosphere like we had today. So that right there still is very concerning. If Michael is available, let's go out to Michael. Looks like he's coming up on more damage, power lines, clearly from this storm right here, and that is a tight couplet on velocity. That's a tornado right on the Cleveland County, Pottawatomie County line. This is Michael's shot, by the way. He can't go any farther. So these power lines are hanging across the road here. So going east, this road's a no-go. And this is what happens when you're chasing late at night. And the way that our crews are, they chase, and a lot of times they come up on the damage first. And so sometimes they're gonna have to take some detours there. But that right there, that's dangerous. That's a dangerous storm. It looks like brand new tornado warning has just been issued, and this one's going to go a little bit farther up to the northeast. And so this tornado warning that was just issued, this is going to be for golf ball size hail, tornado warning until 9:30, confirmed large, extremely dangerous tornado. This is 4 miles north of Etowah, moving to the northeast now at 20 miles per hour. That's a bit of an uptick in the speed in the last couple of radar scans. And as we track this now across Pottawatomie County and now out of Cleveland County, it's Bethel Acres at 9:26, Tecumseh 9:33, Shawnee 9:41. Now Shawnee, you're technically not in the tornado warning, but the way the storm is moving, I would prepare myself for one to be issued. Neal, Johnson, 10:01, Prague, 10:31. Right now, the speed of this storm is up to the northeast at about 20 miles per hour. Is Michael available to talk? Can we get Michael to talk here? No, Michael? Okay, let us know when we get Michael back on. We also have Shane down there, by the way, as well. So we'll see if we can talk to Shane with this storm that is moving up to the northeast right now. So once again, tornado warning now until 9:30 for Pottawatomie County. This is the only tornado warning we have. As far as this storm that's severe up into Cleveland County, hail core, that's now moving, oh, yikes, over Stanley Draper and now north of Belmar, headed over. It's a little bit more of a rural part of Cleveland County. It's still Oklahoma City, but you're looking at right along 149th Street here, east of Sooner. So here's 149th, by the way, as you make your way towards southwestern parts of Stanley Draper. Got a couple neighborhoods that are going to be located here. Pepperwell Oaks, Bella Maria on the east side, or right along Sooner Road, right at 149th, Turtle Lake as well. Finding a rotating couplet, it's not very strong, just south of Franklin, very close to Robin Hill School, east of Norman. Again, it's not rotating tight, but it's definitely there. Moving up to the northeast And so that will likely come very close to Stanley Draper, south side of Stanley Draper, northwest side of Lake Thunderbird. This has just been an incredible afternoon of severe weather, an incredible evening of severe weather as well. This has just been a day. It really has. And these storms, they're not showing signs of weakening yet. So we would love it. I understand. I would love it to see that happen as well. But these storms are still going. And so they're using what instability is left over from the hot day that we had. Still finding the storm rotating south of Pink, north of Burnett, moving up to the northeast towards Bethel Acres a little bit more quickly now than what we saw even about 30 minutes ago when these storms were moving about 10 to 15, now moving 20 miles per hour. So, but even at that speed, not a fast moving storm. So tracking this tornado warning, Bethel Acres 926, Tecumseh 933, Shawnee 941, Shawnee High School, same thing as well. And then we go into Neal at 10:01 with this storm right here as they continue to make their way up to northeast. Michael, Jonathan, what do you have?
Yeah, so what we have highlighted here, pretty still significant velocity couplet here with the storm south of Highway 9, south of Pink. This does have a history of producing a tornado. We'll have to see what it does here over the next about 15 minutes. That's about the time it would take for it to come into Bethel Acres, Shawnee. A lot of times these storms cycle, and what I don't like, so we're talking about, what the storm looks like on radar right now, the environment that it's moving in at this time, and we have still very high instability in place from the daytime heating. That hasn't, not the right way to say it, but it hasn't evaporated. So we have all this stored heat in the atmosphere. If you were to step outside, it's still in the 70s. We have dew points, which are in the 60s, and most of Oklahoma has southeast surface winds right now, and that's what we call a highly sheared environment. Low-level jet streams sometimes can pick up this time of night, so I think we're going to have to watch this. I think it's going to be, I'd say the window is still there for about another hour or two. After that, the cap or the warm air aloft should build back in and kind of suppress thunderstorm development, or these storms would have to potentially gas out. But Shawnee, you have a little bit of time because the storm movement, maybe not as fast as earlier today, but a little bit faster than it was when it kind of anchored. Remember, when these storms, these supercells lay down a tornado, they're physically in contact with the ground. So it'd be like, riding your bike and dragging your foot. You're going to slow down from friction. So we'll have to watch it real closely. I'm not too concerned at this point with the storm that's over Norman. There's not a real strong velocity signature. There's a little bit of one. I think the atmosphere is pretty worked over north of the Pink storm. It was the Etowah storm, called the Pink storm now, but we'll have to watch it closely. So anytime you see me kind of put a blue circle on the radar, that's where I'm highlighting the velocity couplets. So there is a little weak shear. This is going to be south of Franklin, east of Norman. Norman, I think you're in the clear. So that's, again, kind of tied in also where you have the hook. So imagine this is a big supercell, right? And that's the hook. Here's your inflow notch feeding in, and then here's the twin supercell. This is a tornado warned one coming into Pink. Again, big hook and big inflow notch cutting away all the moisture on the low levels. So again, I think we have twin supercells. Wouldn't be surprised if the storm near Lake Thunderbird or east of Norman or south of Franklin flares up and we get a little tighter couplet, a little tighter circulation. On a scale of 1 to 5, I'd round it up to only a 1 versus the Pink storm. I'd give it a 4 to 5. I think it's still pretty tight. Maybe not a 5, not as high as it was maybe last game, but there's still really strong circulation there, and that is going to be 2 miles south of Pink. So there you go, still tracking 2 storms. In the big picture across Oklahoma, there have been some storms down near Marlow, Duncan, Lindsay, Rush Springs. I don't think these are nearly as strong. They are not as tall. They're not as intense. Hill core is not as big, so I'm not too worried about the rush spring cell or the brace cell ramping up and becoming potent. But Damon's still got to watch the pink storm pretty significant still.
Yeah, and in the last radar scan, it just picked back up. It's doing this wobble thing where, and it did this over coal not that long ago, where it looked like it kind of weakened a bit, and then it just ramped back up in the last last radar scan here. So here it is, moving up to the northeast, and then Jonathan, let's show the latest velocity scan, because what it just showed is that it just picked back up right there. So the storm is still going up to the northeast here, and so it's going to do this where it's going to look healthy on radar, and then it's going to kind of settle down. But pink, this is about 2 to 3 miles southeast of you, moving up to the northeast. And Tecumseh, again, you're technically not in the tornado warning, but it's close. So at this current path, it's looking kind of split in between pink and Tecumseh, but still, we got to watch it. Now, Bethel Acres, keeping a close eye on this for you, because Bethel Acres, I understand, look, this storm, while you're not officially in the warning polygon, it is close. And until this storm is done rotating, we're going to continue to make sure that you know what's coming your way, Bethel Acres. I understand this has been a long night of storms, and these storms are now beginning to make their way in your direction. And while earlier we had a lot of daylight, people could go out and look, now it's dark. So you need to know what's coming your way, Bethel. And so you have the hail core on top. It's going to get calm for a little bit in Bethel Acres, and then the rotation part is going to come right over. So Bethel Acres 926, Gaddy 932, Shawnee at 940, Ada-Lot 957, Neal to Johnson at 10 o'clock with this right here. This is your rotation. There's your couplet lifting up to northeast. There's only one tornado warning now. It is going to be for this one down here in the south. That's going to be allowed to drop. So we have Storm Command, we have Shane Helton. Both of them basically came up on damage, and they could not proceed. So watching it, but yikes, this time of the night, you just hate to see that. Because when you see the red and the green, again, the storm is still going. The storm is still going, lifting up to the northeast towards Bethel Acres once again. Still a concern, and definitely quite a bit of threats there. By the way, tornado warning is going to be coming out for Lake Thunderbird. Okay, that's that second circulation. So there you go. Lake Thunderbird, right there.
Right there.
Lake Thunderbird, yep. Right along Alameda Drive. Alameda, close to Lake Thunderbird. That's rotating. That is rotating. It's not tornado warning yet, but that concerns me. That really does concern me right now. Over on the west side, you can get it's either that or it's going to be some strong winds that are coming out. But that's definitely a concern. And so if you're on the west side of Lake Thunderbird, that right there is still hooking. And this is what we were saying earlier, getting this inflow into it. And so right along Alameda Drive on the west side of Lake Thunderbird, it's concerning to me. So treat this like a tornado warning. Treat that like a tornado warning with inflow coming into this one. So I hate to see it. And there you go. So there you go. Tornado warning just issued for that for until 9:45. Slow moving storm with this one, but tornado warning now for Lake Thunderbird. That's east of Norman. Norman, you're okay. Norman, at least Norman proper, and west side, you're not in the tornado warning. This will be on the east side of Norman towards right along Alameda and right over Lake Thunderbird right there. So we were watching that. We were concerned, and in the last radar scan, it picked up. And so sometimes your decisions have to be made pretty quickly. And so there you go, inflow into that. And that's a hook echo. I mean, that right there is a well-defined hook echo. Tornado probably going right over the lake. As we speak, moving to the east. And so pink, that puts you in. So here we go. Okay, there's three areas of rotation right now. Or I'm sorry, 3 tornado warnings that you see popping up on your radar. But there's really, when I look at the radar, there are 2 areas. One southeast of pink, and then this one that's going to be right on the west side of Lake Thunderbird, right there. And that spun up just in the last couple of seconds. Hey, Jonathan, let's go back a couple of radar scans. Let me just see how this evolved and see if this is showing signs of increasing or decreasing. So, yeah, it's definitely increasing there. right on Alameda Drive at Lake Thunderbird, and very close to, see, that's going to be, let's see, 108th Avenue Northeast. 108th Avenue Northeast. So there's Alameda Drive, 108th, 120th, right there on the north side of Lake Thunderbird. So that's still spinning up to the north. Going to come pretty close to Little Axe, by the way. But there it is right there. There's your rotation. Norman, OU, this is east of you. You're good. Otherwise, here's another area of rotation close to Pink. So my goodness, these storms just keep going. They just keep going. What a day. What a day across Oklahoma. Pink, 945. Bethel Acres. Basically, Bethel Acres, we're watching two areas of rotation for you. One that's south of you, one that's west of you. So Bethel Acres, this storm is rotating right over Pink right now. That's headed up in your direction. And so that, at that current track, would Bethel Acres, yeah, you're probably going to have at least two tornado warnings here. So we'll track the first one, the one that's closest to Bethel Acres, east of Pink. So Bethel Acres, 926. Shawnee, 944, Shawnee Mall, 951, Johnson and Neal, 1006 to 1008. Here's another warning. North side of Thunderbird, and that storm moving more to the east as well. So this is moving away from those that are going to be up in Moore. So not a threat for you, but okay, now we have four tornado warnings. Okay, look, okay, we're going to clean this up. We're going to simplify this as much as we can. Here's a tornado. That's a tornado. All right. So this one east of Pink, this is the same one that went through Cole. And then this supercell that popped up over Cleveland County that dropped a lot of hail on the east side of Moore is now rotating over Thunderbird. These are the two areas of concern. So we'll clean it up, give you everything you need, nothing that you don't. So once again, moving over in the Pottawatomie County, and we can see the rotation definitely picking up there over not only Thunderbird, but also on the northeast side of Pink. And again, Bethel Acres, innermost room of your house, tornado shelter. Definitely going to get some surge of winds coming in there as well. Some strong winds with these as they move up to the northeast. So Pottawatomie, Cleveland County continue to be in a warning. Putting a track with this up to the northeast. Bethel Acres, 920, Shawnee, 937. And then Shawnee High School at 937, Shawnee Mall, 945. Now that's the timeline for this cell that is going to be located right here in Pottawatomie County. The other cell that we have here in Cleveland County continues to slowly rotate up to the northeast as well. So that tornado warning, that storm is only moving, get this, at 10 miles per hour. These are some of the slowest tornado warnings that I feel like we have worked in a very long time in Oklahoma. When you get tornado warnings that are moving at 10 miles per hour, that is incredibly slow. And completely opposite, by the way, of the tornado warnings that we had back in February that were moving at 80 and 90 miles per hour. Now, the slow moving nature of these storms gives you a lot of heads up, gives you a lot of time to prepare. On the other side, it also means that it feels like the storm just won't ever end. And that's where we're at right now with these storms. So southwest of Bethel Acres, sirens are sounding. Tecumseh, sirens are sounding as well. Jonathan, these tornado warnings, I mean, these are moving so slow. Some of the slowest tornado warnings I feel like we've ever seen out here in Oklahoma. What do you see from a radar standpoint?
Well, if that's the case, if they're decreasing in speed, that tells me the jet stream winds might be coming down. So that's a good sign. So imagine a supercell, it's kind of like a sailboat, right? They have the updraft is like a big sail, it gets caught up in the jet stream. Faster the jet stream, the faster the storm as they get elevated. If they're slowing down, one of two things are happening. Jet stream winds are decreasing, or they potentially anchored on a boundary, and there may be a boundary there. I will say this, the circulation that was coming out of Pink, it's not the same, and I'm just going through and trying to find where the little couplets are at, and it was back over here, but now I see an area of circulation right there. So it's not looking like a stout supercell like it did before. It's kind of looking a little bit more messy, which is good. For example, the hook is not as strong. There's that secondary hook with the second tornado warning over Lake Thunderbird. And so that area of circulation is right where the bend is in Highway 9. So if you're going around Lake Thunderbird, you can kind of see the if I remember my storm chasing days being over there right along the dam. You kind of overlook the dam there. So where the bend is in Highway 9, that's the other circulation. So I have like 3 suspect areas that I'm watching. We'll start from right to left. So the one just 2 miles south of Bethel Acres, one 5 miles southwest of Bethel Acres, and one about 4 miles, well, 2 miles east of Thunderbird, right over the Lake Thunderbird Dam. So that's what I'm looking at. Tornado debris, is there anything being lofted up? I don't quite see anything to indicate that, but we'll have to continue to watch it. But yes, they have definitely decreased in speed.
Yeah, and it almost seems like they're moving more north in the last couple of scans here, which is just incredible. I mean, both of these storms, it's almost as if they're feeding off of one another. Yeah, I mean, they are, or yeah, competing. I mean, these storms are now moving. It almost seems like that radar. Yeah, I mean, that circulation is moving more north than it is northeast, it seems like now, which is just wild. But when you get these slow moving storms that don't move that fast, you're gonna be dealing with some unusual directions. But that right there would be definitely some strong winds, rotation very close, just about 1 mile south of Bethel High School. There's debris right there inside that cell. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 to 5 miles west of Bethel Acres. When you see that blue right there, and not all blue, by the way, I want to emphasize, not all the blue that you see on our debris tracker is debris. We got to pair it up with where the rotation couplets are tightest, but that right there would be debris. And this right here, there's definitely a surge of some strong winds coming out right now into Bethel Acres. So we're going to watch this, but right now, Bethel Acres to Bethel High School, you're in your innermost room of your house, tornado shelter right now with these storms that are moving very slowly. Areas of rotation about 10 miles per hour. Definitely strong surge of winds coming across Lake Thunderbird as we speak. Now pushing to the east here, going into eastern parts, extreme eastern parts of Cleveland County, east of Thunderbird. That's lifting up to the northeast. But we have a clear visual, and I understand you see all of these red flashing boxes. What do they mean? We're just going to simplify this for you. And so there's circulation south of Bethel Acres. Here's your circulation 4 to 5 miles west of Bethel Acres. And then another one here on the east side of Thunderbird. Jonathan, what do you see?
Well, I don't like this one right here in between Bethel Acres and Stella. Let me get it down to the ground mapping level so we can see the location. So what is it? I don't know what the east-west road is, but 1 mile north of Waco is at north-south 330. So Clear Pond Road, north-south 330, County Road 330, that looks really suspect right there. And the tornado, there's a tornado debris signature. So I would say, and let's loop it here. It's moving northwest. Yeah. This is what I was thinking, is that these two storms are merging and they're fighting each other. And so I think the southern storm or the western storm over Lake Thunderbird, so imagine it has a big old hail core right here, and here's the hook with it. And then this old circulation is just getting pulled in, and I would hope that that circulation is going to get crushed. And you're not going to see it, so wrapped up in rain. But there you go. I mean,
and it's dark.
1, 2, 3, 4 miles west of Bethel Acres. 1, 2, 3 miles west of State Highway 102. Yeah. So there's debris. Now, is it on the ground? I would, my professional opinion, yes.
Yeah, I would too. And it's moving in an unusual direction. I mean, now the newest tornado warning is this is moving in a wild path right now. It's now moving back west. That is wild. I mean, to see a tornado warning in Oklahoma move northwest, to give you an idea just how crazy the storm is right now. This is what we saw on May 31st of 2013 in El Reno, where the storm basically did a big loop where it just did a big loop like a semicircle. And that's what the storm is doing right now. This is just unbelievable to see. And so when you see all of these flashing yellow polygons, again, I understand sometimes it can be difficult. Right now, Bethel Acres, you're getting hit with some strong winds. So there's definitely a tornado west of Bethel Acres that is moving northwest towards Newalla. That's right. Tornado warning is moving northwest towards Newalla. And then you have some strong winds, by the way, coming into Bethel Acres. Whether that's a tornado or not, it's definitely blowing, and it's definitely going to do some damage. And then here's another area of rotation. That's going to be west of Pink. So basically this whole storm is just basically wrapping around itself. And as Jonathan just mentioned just seconds ago, these storms are basically competing. And so they're getting wrapped up. And so just think of like a wheel, like a wheel that you just spin. And that's what this storm is doing right now. This whole storm is spinning in the mid-levels, and it just has these satellite tornadoes that are spinning outside of it. If this were daytime, if this were 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, if you were to look at this, you would probably see tornadoes, like multiple tornadoes out of the sky. I mean, really, this is just all at the same time. I mean, this is just wild. So once again, Bethel Acres. Watching this closely for you in Bethel Acres. Definitely some rotation. If Bethel Acres, if it's not a tornado, it's definitely strong winds. You're definitely getting hit with some powerful winds that very well could be knocking out power. So Bethel Acres, you're still in your shelter. You're still in the innermost room of your house. This whole storm is just throwing rotation couplets all over the place. Here's another southeast of Stella. I don't like this one. And then which one are you looking at, John? Yeah, the one by Bethel Acres. Yeah.
I don't like the one near Bethel High School.
Yeah, let's zoom into this one and check it out, because this one was pinging pretty hot not that long ago, but it is definitely rotating literally right over Bethel High School and Bethel Acres. I mean, that right there, I mean, you get the red and the green, there's your rotation right on top of town. So this is why we're saying if you're in Bethel Acres, you're definitely still in your innermost room of your house right now. Tornado shelter. This continues just to be a wild storm, and so there's rotation couplets all over the place. Again, Bethel, out on the border, Cleveland, Pottawatomie County, and then another west of Pink. I mean, this is just a wild afternoon, wild evening, and the threat still continues. And just looking at how it's all moving, you can just see the whole storm is just rotating, basically across Pottawatomie County. So putting a track up to the north, we'll track each area of rotation individually. So Bethel Acres, that heads north towards Dale at 9:45, Jacktown at 10:26, Meeker at 10:30 with that area of rotation. Here's another that's going to be near Newalla. Now, Newalla, this is coming up towards you. Now, Newalla technically not in the tornado warning, but you sure are close. So Newalla, until this comes down, and I don't expect that these areas of rotation are going to last that long. I mean, they dissipate pretty quickly. That one looks like it's dissipating pretty quickly. Yeah, that dissipated pretty quickly. So good news. But again, we got to work basically scan by scan, because this is not your everyday severe weather supercell that we have here in Oklahoma with the way that it's behaving like this. But it's just wild. So again, we were really concerned about this. That tornado is probably dissipating, although we're still getting a debris ball that's running across far western parts of Pottawatomie County with that cell moving up to the north. Definitely a lot of heavy rain. If you're watching in Oklahoma City right now, at least at this very moment, we're doing much better. So that's good. So now the storms are slowly lifting out north of Tinker. So downtown OKC, we are done for the next little while. There are some storms, by the way, that are down by Wayne, Paola, and Pauls Valley. Those are not severe. But I still am concerned about Bethel Acres. Once again, Bethel Acres, nothing has changed. You're still in your shelter, innermost room. We'll let you know when this threat is over. Slow moving, and this whole thing is just spinning. Franklin out towards Norman. The risk is well east of you now as you go out towards Thunderbird. So tracking Bethel Acres, rotating couplet. Gaddy now, Clarks Heights, 9:43. Meeker to Clifton, 10:40 to 10:43 with that cell right there. And again, there are so many flashing polygons. Basically, the two things to keep in mind: there's your tornado north of Bethel Acres. Area of rotation, not very tight, just west of Pink. Pink, though, I'd be going into your shelter soon if I were you, just to be okay, because the way that these rotating couplets pop up on the radar, they do pop up pretty quickly. There's a lot of warnings out right now, but there's just two areas of rotation. The one that we had, by the way, west of Bethel Acres, that has been allowed to expire. So right now it is 9:25, by the way, on this Wednesday night. So these storms warnings went up at about 5:15, still ongoing. There's still some leftover instability for these storms to go, but at least as of right now, the overall severe threat for the rest of the evening is coming down a bit.